Very nice. Thank you. Thank you for that. Hearing aid test.
Yeah, that's what we should call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. If anyone's got any pointers, we got the lights coming in. I got shadows. He's got shadows. Someone give us some pointers here. We're trying to level up.
Okay. Yeah. Level up, buddy. Level up.
All right. So, title of today's video.
Yeah.
A little different than something we've done in the past.
You're kidding.
I am not kidding.
Okay.
We are going to do Ray's top 5 worst cars in the history of cars.
Well, I can't do the history of cars, but how about in my history, in my time?
And you're how old?
69.
That's pretty long, man.
Well, we've been selling cars for over 100 years, buddy.
All right, so let's jump right into it. And I guess one question before you get into the list: what is your criteria for worst? Is it like worst design, worst performing? Like what criteria? Because I know you spent sleepless nights trying to figure out what this list was going to be. So
that's why I can't sleep at night. Okay. Well, what's my criteria? Just what just from my experiences to what I found to be some of the worst cars ever in the history of mankind.
All right, I'm excited to see what this is.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So it's let's start with number 5.
Number 5.
The Ford Pinto, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you remember the Ford Pinto. It didn't have very many problems other than the fact that if it was rear-ended, it would probably turn into a fireball. Yeah, there were issues with the gas tank and, well, how shit exploded when it was in an accident. It was probably the only car that Ford ever sold that came standard with an asbestos driving suit to protect the driver. So that was number 5 on my list.
Wait. Okay, yeah, you got to give me a look, because these are probably all cars. Well, I'm gonna make the assumption that you're not choosing like cars from 1995 on, right?
I don't think any of those made the list.
Yeah, because I was born in '95. So explain to me, when was the Pinto around? Did you ever drive one? Did you ever see one?
Of course, I had to appraise one.
Yeah.
It scared the shit out of me. I was always afraid to drive it on the street. I was always wanted to make sure that nobody was too closely behind me. Yeah,
wow.
They were scary cars. It was an issue, and that Ford finally had to address. And I think the best way they addressed it was they stopped making the car.
That is a very bad car.
Yes.
All right, so the Ford Pinto, that's number 5 on your
list.
Yes,
there was a car that came out, a rear-engine car that Chevrolet came out with many, many years ago. It's a collector's item today called the Corvair.
Corvair?
Yes, even Uncle Kenny owned one. Okay, the Corvair, that was in the 60s. It was rear engine. Oh, it was supposed to make driving better because the weight of the engine was over the drive wheels.
Definitely.
Ralph Nader wrote a book about it entitled Unsafe at Any Speed. I believe that even included while parked. Okay? Chevrolet had not quite figured out how to keep all the fumes out of the cabin from having the engine in the rear. It was not much of a car, but today still it is a collector's item. I remember our neighbors in Arnold. She was very thrilled because she had a Corvair convertible. And probably that's about the only ones you could drive because there's always fresh air coming in that way with the top down. Yeah.
When was this available?
This was available in the 60s. Wow. And it came about because the Volkswagen Beetle was so popular, and, well, that was a rear-engine car.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that the Volkswagen.
Yes. And many people who owned Volkswagens did all their own repair work.
Sure.
I even know people that took the engine out and carried it into the house themselves and did the work in the kitchen table.
Let me guess, it was like a 4-cylinder engine, not a big one?
It wasn't a big engine.
Yeah, it couldn't have been.
No. It didn't even take the world's strongest man to carry it into the kitchen.
All right, so we had Ford Pinto, we've got the Chevrolet Corvair.
The Corvair, yes, the Corvair.
I'm going to be doing some Google searching after this.
Yes, you will.
Number 3?
The Renault Le Car. Okay.
What?
The Le Car. It was a small French car, okay, and it was one of the finest examples of French engineering ever known to man. It was a true piece of crap, often referred to as the Renault Le Toilette. Okay, it was just, well, where it belonged was in the toilet, actually. So yes, and I remember being in Monte Carlo with your
You're
mother.
fancy. You're fancy.
I was very fancy, or maybe it wasn't your mother, but I was in Monte Carlo, and the Renault Le Car was actually more expensive in Monte Carlo than it was in America.
That probably was making you question why. France is really close to Monte Carlo.
Yeah,
Aren't they like literally
neighbors?
Neighbors, yeah.
Neighbors, yeah. Visiting Princess Grace while I was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait. So Renault Le Car.
Le Car, yeah, that was
What time period?
That was in the late 70s. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. The Renault Le Car. It was an honest to God car. Renault never really made good cars, but that was a fine example of their worst car.
Yeah. I'm thinking of Peugeot. Is that the other?
That was another French company, another fine automobile.
Well, they're still on the road.
Yeah, but they actually pulled out of the United States because they were so bad that nobody could keep them running. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Number 2.
Number 2, another Chevy, ladies and gentlemen, the Chevrolet Vega. Oh, that was another attempt at Chevy's building small cars to compete with the foreign brands that were taking over the country, and the Vega was known as perhaps the biggest rust bucket ever produced in the United States. I mean, you would appraise one that could be a year old, and the A pillars are rusting, and the B pillars are rusting, and the cowl along the front underneath the windshield was rusting. And I'm pretty sure that they actually started rusting during production. Okay, I don't know if they sprayed them down with water to ensure that they would rust, but that was another fine example of why Chevrolet shouldn't have been in the small car business at that time.
Time period?
Same time as the Pinto.
Really?
Yeah, the difference was that the Pinto would burn and the Vega would rust. Yeah.
And so you would have customers come in and you'd appraise these cars?
Yeah, hopefully they wouldn't fall completely apart during the appraisal. Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, what a pristine condition,
there was
restored
no such thing.
Vega.
There was no such thing, and I'm pretty sure nobody's collecting any of those like they collect the Corvair.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so another Chevy product.
Yes. And now, the number 1 worst car of all time.
Maybe I'll put like a little drum roll effect in here.
If you have that
Sports
ability.
Center top 10 plays, number 1.
Well, this is not Sports Center. This is not top 10. This was only top 5.
This is true.
Okay. Yeah.
Number 1.
The Yugo. The what? The Yugo. Yes, that's right. In the late 70s, early 80s, people imported, I don't know who it was that came up with this idea, they imported a car from Yugoslavia. Because, well, who wouldn't think of Yugoslavia as, I don't know, the engineering capital of the world? And so they brought in this little car called the Yugo, and it was really, really cheap. And, well, there was a reason. It was really, really cheap. And the Yugo, as it turned out, was the world's first disposable automobile. It was like the Bic click of automobiles. Once the ink ran out, you threw away the pen. Once that first full tank of gas ran out, you threw away the Yugo. I mean, they were like $3,000 or something like that, and they were worth like $3 the minute you drove off the lot. I mean, the absolute worst automobile ever sold in this country. Okay, ever. It was just unbelievable. Yeah.
What made it?
And let me say one thing.
Yeah.
Yugoslavia's engineering department was so world renowned, well, that the country doesn't even exist anymore. Okay, they broke up the country, and it's now many other countries. But
not only did the vehicle, it's like
it killed the country. Yeah. A failed attempt at modern day engineering, and it destroyed an entire country.
So I mean, in the video, I'm going to put up a photo of this, but I haven't seen a Yugo. Describe it to me. What am I about to look at when I start Google searching this?
Ugly, incredibly ugly. And I remember when Yugo stores opened.
Oh, they had like dealerships.
Well, sure, they had dealerships. Yeah, and I remember when Yugo stores closed. It wasn't that long after they opened, and they were literally perhaps the worst car ever offered for sale in the United States of America.
And this was, again, time period-wise, 60s, 70s, 80s?
80s.
Wow.
80s,
that's relatively recent.
Oh, yeah, the late 70s, early 80s. Oh, yeah. Yeah, look it up.
No, trust me, I'm going to.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, we should find it on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
And we should link to it so people can read about it and see it and understand why they should be thankful that it doesn't exist anymore.
Down below, I'll link to the Wikipedia page on the Yugo.
Yes.
So was the brand called Yugo and the car was called Yugo?
Yugo.
I mean, it's a catchy name.
Oh,
Yugo.
Yeah. Yugo. That was it. That was the whole concept. It was basic transportation. Wherever you want, you go. Yeah. Whatever Bob wants, Bob gets. I knew a guy by that name. Yeah.
Bob gets.
Very good. Yes.
All right. Any honorable mention cars, maybe from that you ever drove? Like, were there any worst cars that you ever owned?
Yes. Yeah, a Hornet. The AMC Hornet. AMC was originated as they are, and they're about to go bankrupt. But AMC was the outgrowth of Rambler automobiles. The number
of things you've said that don't. I don't recognize.
Yeah. Well, there were lots of brands that don't exist anymore, and Rambler was one of them. They became AMC.
Okay.
And they actually had some cars that were interesting cars. AMC made a car, the Pacer, and it was like a round bubblish type thing, and it was not years but decades ahead of its time because it was small and it was round and it had a lot of room, and well, it wasn't a particularly good car, but I remember that we had a Hornet, a Rambler or AMC Hornet.
Was this at one of the dealerships?
This was my father owned it. When he had his vending machine business, and I used to work for my father, and I used to drive this car. It was actually green in color. So there's the cartoon character, the Green Hornet. Well, I drove the Green Hornet. And the only problem with this car was that if it was summertime and the air conditioning was on and you were making a left-hand turn, it would stall. So now you're in the middle of an intersection and the car is no longer running. So you either figured out how to drive, 100 extra miles a day, making nothing but right-hand turns, okay? Or you got real talented at being able to make the left-hand turn, steering with your left hand, while prepared to pull the shifter down into neutral so you could start the car again, because you certainly didn't want to put it in park, not in the middle of the intersection. So you would make the left-hand turn, the car would stall, you'd go into neutral, you'd turn it on, and you'd put it in the drive, and you'd take off. Fine example of American engineering, and I couldn't tell you how many times we took it to the dealership and they just said, well, make right-hand turns, because they couldn't figure out how to get that.
And you were running vending machine routes for your dad.
Yes.
So you were driving a ton. All throughout Philly and
Jersey and Delaware and Maryland, and making nothing but right-hand turns. So I could have never driven for NASCAR because they make left-hand turns. I would have been going the wrong way the whole goddamn time.
All right, Dad. You had me cracking up pretty good today.
I'm sorry.
No. All right. If you've got a worse car,
yeah, please let us know.
Yeah. I mean, this will be fun for us to review and stuff like that. Yeah,
absolutely. Because I'm sure I'm missing any number of fine candidates.
We should probably let's see how this resonates, but then maybe we'll do a best car and you can talk about some of the best cars that you own, stuff like that. But man, this was fun having you share these. I got so much research to do now.
You do. I know you'll be busy for the rest of the day.
All right, thanks, Dad.
My pleasure. Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Yep, I'll be here.
Actually,
well, hell, I live with you.
Yeah, I'll see you later.
We'll both be here. Turn off the camera.